following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Flags. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Cindric. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is Friday, and that is a good thing. Now, I will tell you that the weather is about to take a dramatic dip. Rain will move back in a little after midnight, and the temperatures are going to be down in the 30s and the 40s tomorrow. And in fact, as you look at the long-range forecast, for about 10 days, we're barely going to get above 50. So all that September weather that you've had in November, gone. You knew it would be. Watson Brown's going to join us at 4:20 for a segment. Looking forward to having him with us. Billy Derrick is alongside. Let's see. Oh, he's giving me the stall. Who knows what that means? So let's go to Terry McCormick, who joins us by phone today on his way up to Chattanooga to call a ball game. Of course, Terry begins each and every show for us with his daily Titans update. Terry, how are you?
I'm good, George. I'm currently here in Chattanooga, headed toward Tyner Academy, where Westmoreland will play Chattanooga Tyner.
Beautiful. Weather okay up there?
It's nice and cloudy. It's I'd say probably, well, it says here on the temperature gauge here that's on the dashboard that it's 68. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, get ready. It's not going to stay that way.
Oh, I know. They're talking about the possibility of snow flurries in the Nashville area tomorrow morning.
Well, I tell you what, you deal with those. I'm not into that. Not yet.
Terry, don't you put
Not
that evil
yet.
on us.
Yeah. Not ready for that yet. Terry, it sounds like something that you told me earlier today that you're pretty confident now that Ryan Tannehill is going to start for the Titans.
I think there's a decent chance of it, George. I mean, Mike Vrabel wouldn't come out and say it, and they listed Tannehill as limited today after he did a full practice on Thursday. But he did do some work, during the open part of practice. He was out there, working and doing, what he would do normally to get ready for a game. So I think there's a better than average chance that he suits up and gives it a go on Sunday.
You're not nearly as optimistic about Jeffrey Simmons.
Well, they've already ruled him out. He is one of 4 defensive starters that they have ruled out, along with Bud Dupree, Zach Cunningham, and Amani Hooker, and also backup safety Josh Thompson, who's one of their key special teams guys, is going to miss this game as well. So in terms of the defense, they're missing some pieces.
Which means, Terry, that the concept of throwing 5 forward passes in a game kind of deal really isn't going to fly Sunday, is it?
No, I mean, well, the good news is that the Denver Broncos aren't scoring a lot of points either.
No.
This game is one of those that might be over in 2 hours and 15 minutes and the final score 10-9 because neither one of these offenses are exactly lighting up the scoreboard, and both defenses are actually pretty decent. So it might be one of those low scoring, run. It might be like, I'll put it in terms you can understand, George. It might be a Greg Maddux 4-hitter.
Oh, wow. An hour and 58 minutes in front of 40,674.
There you go.
Terry, of that group that you mentioned, defensive starters who will not be available Sunday, do you think that same group has this same distinction next Thursday when they go to Green Bay?
Boy, that's a good question. I mean, it would be a very short week, be a situation where, they wouldn't really have a lot of time to rest. Now, obviously by not playing on Sunday, they're going to get the rest there that they normally wouldn't get. But I got to think that every one of those guys is probably going to be pushing it right up to the edge again, given that it's only, 4 days in between. So, turning around, playing a Thursday night game in Green Bay, after you've been declared out on Friday, that's 6 days from now. It'll take some fast healing for some of those guys. The two that I worry the most about, obviously, are the two main cogs. Simmons, who is darn near irreplaceable on that defensive front with all the things that he can do and with all the talent that he has and the double teams that he draws. And then, of course, Bud Dupree, because I think you saw what type of difference it made when Bud Dupree was not in the lineup at the end of that game against the Chiefs Sunday night, because when Bud was not in there, you saw Patrick Mahomes be able to contain a little more and hurt the Titans defense with his legs in that fourth quarter and in the overtime. When Bud was in there, it seemed like that situation wasn't nearly occurring as often, with him able to try and contain Patrick Mahomes in the pocket.
Terry, given the news you've given us, they're going to have their hands full Sunday trying to make this work, but we'll see what happens noon Sunday at Nissan Stadium, and we'll get back with you on Monday for the injury report and all the postmortems.
All right. Sounds good, George.
Terry, thank you. Safe travels.
All right. Have a good one.
That's Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update.
Yes, it is, and it is presented by Sumner Funeral and Cremation, as well as the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners. Sumner Funeral and Cremation, they are sharing their family with yours in your time of need. They've now got 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and also online at sumnerfuneral.com. Also, don't forget the Justin Tucker team. They are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Give them a call at 615-906-8458.
In the last 2 years, Billy, we have seen more teams decimated with injuries in the NFL than I can ever remember. This goes on all over the league. We'll talk to Watson about it when he joins us at 4:20. He may have a good theory as to what's going on.
Well, especially with the Titans, George. I mean, they've been the ringleader of that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially going back to last year.
Yeah, you're right about that.
George, let's get to the update here. A little bit of a shorter update today, but the Josh Allen daily status report this week. I feel like we've done it every day.
Yep.
Forget about day to day. Forget week to week. He's hour to hour.
Oh,
now.
yes.
So he's
it sounds like a soap opera, like Days of Our Lives. Let's get an hourglass. So are the days of our lives.
So that's the latest on Josh Allen. He was not seen with teammates by the local media at the start of today's practice. So who knows, George, at this point?
Yeah. There's no doubt they need him.
Yeah, they might need him.
Listen, they've got a really good backup. Case Keenum is probably as good a backup as there is in the NFL. But Watson's right when he said a couple of days ago, he's no Josh Allen.
He ain't no Josh Allen. No doubt. George, next piece here. Matthew Stafford is apparently making good progress. He's questionable right now Sunday against Arizona. McVay said he's got a good workout in. He was out throwing and working yesterday. He's making steady progression. So Stafford and Allen, what are the odds those two play or not, George? Because, I mean, I don't know if we know.
Well, let me say this. The Rams may have won the world title a year ago, but Matthew Stafford has taken a beating in particular in games against the 49ers where they have rattled his chain big time. I worry because he doesn't have a Josh Allen physique.
No.
Allen's big old 6'6", just bowl you over. Matthew Stafford is not. If I'm the Rams, I am really careful about this.
Yeah, George, moving on, MLB. Astros general manager James Click is out. Apparently he was only offered a 1-year extension after winning the World Series. They announced that they will not enter in a renewal for the 2023 season. So kind of a weird story there, George.
Well, here is the behind-the-scenes stuff. James Click had come in after they had the trash can banging, and they fired both the general manager and the manager. More and more, the owner, Jim Crane, had been leaning on Reggie Jackson and Jeff Bagwell, who he's got close relationships with. Click had apparently worked a deal that Crane nixed at the deadline for Wilson Contreras. You would have figured, first of all, having won a World Series, that Crane would have given him more than a 1-year contract offer. Apparently, at the GM meetings this week, Click told some people that he was not happy. It got back to Crane, who fired him this morning, and then also fired the assistant GM. Now, you think about this. A team that wins a world title offers the manager, Dusty Baker, a 1-year deal. Now, admittedly, Baker is 73. That explains that a little better, but Click is 44, and if he's hacked off that he only got a 1-year extension offer, I don't blame him.
This is all so weird to me. I mean, after you win a World Series, it
ought to be champagne and toasts, and instead
sunshine and rainbows. But it doesn't turn out to be that right now.
Doesn't seem like it.
No. So last piece here, George. Mets closer Edwin Diaz just struck a new deal. And honk, if you've heard this before, Bobby Bonilla coming up. Apparently, the new deal has deferred payments until 2042.
God, you would think the Mets would have learned from Bobby Bonilla. Bonilla gets...
When does his end?
His is like $1.1 million. I want to say like every July 1st up until like 2038. And now the Mets turn around and do this again. Now, I get that players at times want this kind of thing where they're thinking about their future as opposed to just right now. By the way, it's easier to do it on their salaries than it is on probably yours and mine. I don't have a lot of friends who are like, hey, let's defer it for 15 years. It sounds great. I mean, look, if you can pull it off, it's wonderful. But how many people in the real world really do that?
I would say not very many.
I would say none.
No, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But he won't completely receive the $26.5 million in deferred payments until 2042. So he should have a nice little
I'm worried for him.
Next 20 years of his life.
Tell you what, he had an unbelievable year. The reason the Mets were down the Braves' throat all year
he was a big reason.
He was lights out for them. So let me give people a little bit of an idea. Earlier, we had advertised that Herm Edwards would be on with us today at 5 o'clock. That is not going to happen. We'll get Herm on next week, but ESPN duties obviously take precedent. When we do get him on, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to ask Watson Brown a lot of the same questions that I was going to ask Herm Edwards. Watson will join us at 4:20. Then Zach Womble with week 2 of the high school football playoffs around 4:45. Then at 5 o'clock, Jeff Pennington and his weekly picks. And then this is something you're going to want to stick around for. At 5:20, we're going to show you the AFC standings as of this moment and what the playoff picture would look like if the season just happened to end right about now. I think you'll find it very interesting. So stick around. We've got plenty coming, including, Billy, a big weekend of plaster bets.
Oh, yeah. Chance to get over 500.
Oh, yeah, because Watson's sitting back there paying no attention to the fact that I am red hot. Yeah, I don't know about red hot. I've won 3 in a row.
He's going to have a lot to say when he gets in.
Well, you know what? He dusted my Carolina pick last night. Watson, I'm looking at you. Carolina, baby. How about them? Stay tuned. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Okay, we welcome all of you back on a Friday afternoon. I've asked Watson Brown to join us for one segment, not necessarily to explain Carolina's win last night over Atlanta, but you know what? Just because he is with us, Watson, you do need to explain yourself because Carolina dominated that game.
You know, first of all, George, I just want you to know I just miss you guys so much.
Yeah.
I was sitting around bored today, and I just said, hey, why not? I'll go back on with them again just to see their pretty faces.
Yeah.
And
sure
and to listen to you, whatever you do every day. But yeah, I'm not so sure, George, that the NFC South is not after the AFC South.
Right.
They're trying to catch them. They're trying to catch them to see which is the worst. They don't like the way the AFC South has dominated this for the last few years. So I think they're working toward it now. They're about to catch the AFC South. The Falcons, oh, poor Marcus. Hope he don't get benched, but he struggled last night.
Yeah. I think there's a real chance that with this sort of mini bye week that they turn to Desmond Ridder. Yeah. But Arthur Smith has not said that yet. So you heard Terry's report. This is not the first time a team has had this happen this year. San Francisco played a game without 4 starters on defense. It seems like there's more of it going on around the league. Kind of what's your theory as to why this is happening more than ever?
It's really been the last 2 years. 2.5, something, I don't know, right in there. And when COVID hit and they started backing off of practice, and I've said this to you before, George, first of all, the bodies are just getting some bigger, stronger, and faster that there's going to be injuries. These guys, Derrick Henry is a tailback, for gosh sakes. I mean, look at the guy. They're just so big, strong, fast that I just think they fall on each other now. And those joints, I'm not sure we're made that way when we're born to handle that. But I really believe a big piece of this is they're just not ready for contact in these practices. In the preseason, they don't hit anybody anymore. I've been many times to NFL practices in the past where it's 2 days. They're in pads both practices. They're contacting both practices. Now they practice once a day. They're in shorts a whole lot of the time. I think your conditioning is one thing, then your pad level conditioning is another. You can't get in condition if you don't put them on. And part of pad level conditioning is hitting one another. That's part of conditioning, is hitting one another, getting off the ground, getting up, hitting somebody else again, and where your body now is ready for this. You have a lot of the injuries sometimes in preseason. Now you don't hardly hear of any. Unless somebody tears an ACL or something because they stepped wrong, you don't hear the physical injuries in practice. But now in the games, we see it with the Titans. But, George, if you went on and studied every team, you'd see it in every team.
It's going on all over the place.
A ton of them. The Rams have had a ton of them. You talked about the 49. Everybody's having them. They're all having them, and that's why these practice squads are being robbed by everybody right and left. It is like kind of the Red Raiders here. Everybody run in and pick him up and get him out of there real quick and put him on our team. And I don't know. It's not good. They better figure it out because I think it's hurting the league. The play has fallen off, in my opinion, this year.
I think you're exactly right.
I think it's fallen off. I don't see the sharpness, the crispness that I've seen. And I think it's because you're not out there, but about 1 out every 4 weeks because you're not practicing.
Watson, a lot has been made about Indy's hiring of Jeff Saturday in what is called an interim hire. Whether it's interim or forever, the fact of it is he's never coached an NFL game. Now, we all know him for his TV work where he is not only insightful, but downright hilarious at times when he would do that pancake segment with Greeny. But Sunday, he's going to be the head coach. Now, he's coached on the high school level, but what things do you think he's going to run into Sunday that he's never dealt with before?
It's the same things, even if you're an assistant and never been a head coach. There are coaching decisions all week long that he's having to try to figure out. Long before he gets to a game, he's had to make a bunch of them. And then when the game comes, you've got 2 seconds, 3 seconds to make a decision. I mean, you've got to make quick decisions as a head coach. And And it'll take him a while to do that. He's caught a lot of grief over this, George. I've read article after article. This is a slap in the NFL's face. This is blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I sure would not have gone there and wouldn't think any owner would if they're hiring you full time. I can understand it in an interim way. You got 8 games left or so.
Yeah.
You don't feel good about any assistant. You got to bring somebody in, bring him in and give him a shot. The one thing that you knew he had, we said this earlier in the week, was the respect of the players. He'll have that. Maybe not as the head coach, but as a former player, he will have respect for when he walks in that door. And I saw where he's having a 30-something-year-old assistant call plays that's yet to call plays in a game. It's kind of crazy. I personally hope it works. I hope it works because I really want to watch it and see what people say if he were to win 3 or 4 here in a row, because there's a lot of people that have to take back some statements. I mean, when you really look at it, he has really been blasted by a lot of people.
Okay. Other than the fact that, I've never really played the game. On game day, if Irsay had put me in there, would I look like a total fool or would I know how to make decisions?
George, I think you could, if you're a quick decision maker and you got poise and you know the game, you've watched it enough to know the game, as long as you're not involved in play calling and all that,
right,
you'd have a shot at it. It's, do I go for it on 4th down? It's 4th and 2. Do I punt or try to kick a field goal, or do I go for it? It's you're not over there saying what play do we call. You're saying go for it or not. Do I take this penalty or not? 2-point play at the end of the game. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but it doesn't have to just be football genius to make those things. You just got to have poise about yourself and be a quick decision maker, because the thing that I would say is different that everybody doesn't understand, it happens so fast. So fast. You're on TV and you'll sit there and you're watching him, but man, you got to make the calls really fast. And I don't want to overblow it. I think you could do it. Now, going in and put an offense in or a defense and
we know
the little
well
intricacies of that, he couldn't even come close to doing that. There's no way he could do that. But just to be the head coach and to make the decisions on these days and walk in with respect, because I think that's really what the owner got out of this. He got a guy that walked in the door that had their respect. And honestly, I guess if you're an owner right now, you'll take it. Just get some respect in the locker room.
He's very close to Peyton Manning. Would you have been shocked if he had reached out to Peyton and said, come in here for 2 months and help me?
He may have. Behind the scenes, I don't think Peyton would say anything, but I wouldn't doubt he did that. I wouldn't doubt at all he did that. I saw where that the guy on ESPN, Dan Orlovsky, said that he was considering going with him, and I guess he didn't. So I'm sure he's reached out to some different people to see. It's too late, though, really, for offense or defense. You've got to stick to what you're doing. I mean, you can tweak things here and there, but you've got to stick within what you're doing. You can't go in there in an 8-week period and completely overhaul an offense. You can't do that.
Watson, on the college level, we're now down to the final 3 weeks of the regular season, and we know who the 6 to 8 are that are really, truly vying for those 4 spots. Do you look for the Oregons and the Tennessees, which are sitting there at 5 and 6, to try to run up scores for style points? Do you think the committee is stupid enough to buy these style point stuff at the end of games? Give me some thoughts there.
I think style points let's take Tennessee. I think style points are very important, but not to the point of running up a score. Just style points. Just play really clean, win 21 or 48. I don't think that matters, but Just play clean football, have control of the game. You can show the committee you pulled them out in the fourth quarter and left it at 21 or 28. But running it up, I don't even think they look at that. I don't think that would even be in the factor. Beating somebody 21 and beating somebody 48, honestly, there's no difference in that. Look out, though, for Tennessee, Oregon, Southern Cal, UCLA, Clemson, Ole Miss. There's your ones. And let's see, and I think TCU this weekend too. Let's watch it now, because every time those one teams lose one, they're done. They're out. So there's real heat. There's heat on Tennessee.
Oh, sure there is.
There's heat, man. You do not have a bad game and lose one. Your history. Ask Alabama. Their history. They're not going anywhere. You've got to stay in that one loss reign. And Oregon and Ohio and Southern Cal, UCLA, they're going to end up playing each other. There's no doubt about that. Michigan and Ohio State got to play each other. TCU's got Texas and Baylor back-to-back, and then a Big 12 championship game. Where Tennessee's sitting so nice. Let's say TCU runs the table, George, and they get to the championship game. They don't want to play that championship game in any shape, form, or fashion. They do not want to have to play that game if they get to that point where Tennessee's sitting there. They don't have to play the game. They run the table out. They just sit back if TCU is still undefeated and watch TCU have to beat somebody in a very pressurized conference championship game. So, honestly, I think Tennessee better than Oregon, better than Ole Miss, because Ole Miss keeps winning and stays with one loss. They're in the championship game. And if they lose to Georgia, they're out. And Tennessee passes them by. These one-loss teams are all still in possibility of playing in the championship game. Tennessee is not. And I think they're sitting the prettiest of all the one-loss teams.
I absolutely think you're right. I want to go to Alabama and Clemson for a minute, Watson.
Okay.
These are two programs that are used to playing nothing but meaningful games. And now all of a sudden in early to mid-November, they now know that there's really nothing they can do. It's out of their hands. Do you think Alabama and or Clemson go in the tank and that the next 7 weeks is miserable at those two places?
It'll be miserable, but the coaches will keep it under control. Alabama's out. Coach Saban's the one that's got the hardest job here. Clemson is still in the mix. Now, a lot of people got to get beat. A lot of those one-loss teams got to get beat, and he's just got to keep winning and then beat my brother in the championship game, and he might still sneak in, George. But Alabama's got 2. They're done. You'll see how well Nick has got control this weekend. If they go in there and they look really excited about playing and they're busting it and they play well to win that game in Oxford, he's got control. If they were to lose this one, he's got his problems.
What's your gut
Clemson
feeling?
To me, he's still got something to talk about.
Yeah.
Guys, they're going to forget us now for a while. Just keep winning. We win that championship game, and we're going to watch all these one-loss teams start losing games. They're going to start losing one here or there, and the old Tigers are going to sneak back in. That is Dabo. I can hear him right now.
Yeah.
I can hear the conversation. And so I think Clemson's still a little bit different than even Alabama is.
Do you think Alabama shows up sharp as attack tomorrow or bored, disinterested? What's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling is I think, excuse me, I think Nick is a heck of a coach. I think they'll show up. They're going to show up and they're going to play their hearts out. I don't think they're as good, especially on defense, as they've been. And I don't think they're as good at receiver, George. They don't have the bona fide guy. So Ole Miss could very well play with them Saturday. And Alabama's always had trouble when they get reeling is when somebody goes fast on them. And when it starts going bad, man, they start reeling, and that ball's going up and down the field against them. It's exactly what Lane does, and he knows that about them because he nearly beat them in Oxford 2 years ago, if you remember. He nearly beat them in Oxford 2 years ago and is up and down the field as fast as 50 to 50-something, I think, was the score. But I think they show up and they play really hard. I think they'll win, but I think they're in another dogfight Saturday with Ole Miss.
Watson, you may want to check back in, just sort of sneak peek the show around 5:30. This is this week, and I am red hot.
I'm staying out of it. I'm staying out of it. Just text me your percentage, and you got a little breathing room now, so you're okay. You're not going to go below 48. I'm just telling you. You dropped to 47. You may never make it to 50, and the rats are going to start jumping off the ship, man. I'm telling you, you'll be on there steering the ship by your little self.
Right.
Yep.
Who's with me?
Keep that. Yeah. Look
No
around.
one.
Ain't nobody.
No one.
Ain't nobody.
You are a front runner.
You're
behind me winter time. That's all you are.
Oh, you're the worst in the business. You are the worst front runner I've ever known.
You have a good weekend.
Do you rub it in when you start going? I mean,
you have a good weekend. Tell everybody in the home I said hello.
Why do I do this?
I don't know.
Why do I come on? I get a day off to enjoy to be with my wife, and here I come in for more misery. I've got to be a weird dude. That's all I can say. I'm a weird dude.
You got Tony first, and then George today. It's
oh, good gracious! I had Tony for 30 minutes, and now George. For God's sake, at least Tony don't get on me.
Tony's nice.
Special. Your grandson.
Oh, good Lord!
See you Monday.
I'll see y'all. Have fun.
Talk to you, Watson.
See y'all.
Stay tuned after the break. Zach Womble will join us. This is Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Week number 2 of the high school football playoffs will continue tonight all over the state of Tennessee. And with that in mind, our Friday night live show will commence during the 6 o'clock hour. We're looking forward to having you with us. In a moment, Zach Womble is going to join us. Billy, I was looking at the weather on my trusty little phone, and it looks like until about 3 o'clock tomorrow morning that all is good. But I guess I'm kind of curious with both of you guys, if this rain that had moved in this morning had been an all-day gusher, would they have played tonight?
You know, as we bring Zach in here, I think, Zach, you might see a situation where some of these games get moved to Saturday morning. We've seen that before. You know, I know players, coaches hate it. But with some of these fields, you can't do it on a Friday night sometimes with a lot of rain. And you've seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think hopefully they'll get them played tonight. I think usually if they move them, it may be due to like lightning or things of that nature. But hopefully even if it was just rain coming down, I would like to think that we have not, I guess, we're still good enough as a society to play in some mud. So hopefully, you know, even if the rain does come through, that they'd still be able to play. Now, obviously, if it's thunder, lightning, and it's for the safety, obviously you want to move it. But a little bit of rain, hopefully we would still be able to play on through that. Okay,
playoffs continue. We know that. What's the best game on the board in your opinion?
Well, there's a lot of good ones, George. Our Main Street Prep's game of the week this week, I think, is a pretty easy one. Pope Prep at Brentwood Academy. Pope Prep got quarterback Kenny Minchie back last week in their win over Briarcrest in the first round. And so him matched up against George McIntyre for Brentwood Academy. I think it's a great quarterback showdown. You know, I think a lot of people have forgotten about what Pope Prep could do with Kenny at quarterback and kind of what it does for their offense. And I think this is an opportunity tonight to remind everyone just how good that offense, how lethal that offense can be. You know, they were already great with him and Colin Cook last year, Elijah Robb in the backfield. But, you know, having Josh Maylander on the team this year and now with Kenny back to highlight that, goodness gracious, they have a pretty lethal attack. The one thing that does concern me, though, about Pope Prep is, you know, is Elijah Robb healthy, their starting running back? And then Patrick Collins, an interior lineman on both offense and defense, was carted off the field last week on a stretcher. So he was able to give the thumbs up to let people know that he was okay. But you wonder just kind of what his status is and as they go into tonight's game. But that's going to be a really good one. But, George, there's plenty to choose from. I mean, you got Smyrna at Beach. McCauley at Innsworth is a good one. Clarksville at Cane Ridge. I mean, you could honestly go down the list. There's some really good games tonight.
Yeah, we're 5 or 6 deep on that. Tell me about your player of the week and what led to that.
Yeah, so we've been doing the player of the week fan voted poll all season long. I mean, they've had 11 winners so far, one for each week. And this week, Devin Crenshaw, the Springfield quarterback, was fan voted as the player of the week, collecting 25% of the overall vote. He beat out Clarksville's Jamar Carnell and Independence's Trey Hartwell for the honor. So he tallied 176 total yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing in their 27-7 win over Memphis Central last week. So congratulations to Devin Crenshaw, and shout out to the Springfield fans for jumping on MainStreetPreps.com to vote for him. And of course, next week we'll have another poll up. So whoever balls out tonight will be up for vote next week, and again, make sure you're checking back on mainstreetpreps.com for the latest on that.
What did you mean by new football regions?
Yeah, so maybe about a month ago, maybe the TSSAA put out that new classifications were coming out, where schools would go. And then a few days ago, they dropped the new district and region realignments. And so you can, of course, go online to TSSAA.org to check out, your respective school. That's probably the fastest and best way, depending on which sport you're looking for. But some football standouts for me, I'll just run down the list. There are a few of them. So Liberty Creek, the new school in Sumner County, specifically in Gallatin, I thought they made off very, very well. They got placed in Region 5-3A with East Nashville, Maplewood, Republic, Stratford. That right there is a pretty good region to be in to make the playoffs. And then on top of that, the region that they get paired with, Region 6-3A, is Cheatham County, Fairview, Stewart County, and Sycamore. So not a whole lot of winning, at least in the past couple of years in those two regions. So an opportunity for Liberty Creek, a first-year school this year, to make a big splash for the first couple of years of eligibility in the playoffs.
Billy, what do you got for Zach?
Zach, on that topic of the new regions, I know we've talked a lot about, Division II, AAA, and that area of it. But with JP2, you mentioned them kind of at the top in Hendersonville, as I get back on camera here. With JP2, we haven't talked a whole lot about this yet. Why did they decide to move down? Was that a move down for them? Like, what do you know what went into that decision for them?
I think there was a couple things that went into that decision. First, let me say this. When I spoke with Brian Sneed, he was kind of surprised at those numbers, that they kind of dropped to that AA threshold. They added a middle school to their school. So now they're a 6 through 12. So they were a little surprised, I guess, in their high school numbers. But I think it makes sense for them. They no longer have to go to Chattanooga to play games, to play a region game. I guess Webb School is kind of far, but it's not as far as McCallie and Baylor. And so I think when they took a step back, an opportunity to save a little money on travel. But at the same time, on the flip side of the coin, Brian was very candid in saying that, if they do decide to drop down and stay down, which they have, they are going to miss playing in the best conference in all of Tennessee high school football, which is that D2-3A field. But you know what? An opportunity for them to compete at this AA level, kind of post Geisinger, post Kenny Minchie. And listen, now they're in a conference in a region it's a battle of acronyms, I like to say, with BGA, CPA, DA, FRA, GPS, PJ, P2, and of course the Webb School. So, a great opportunity for them to kind of really compete at a high level post Geisinger and post Kenny Minchie in that senior class. That's all I got, George. Well, let me say this, but I kind of had a couple other regions that I didn't really get into. I was kind of letting it breathe there for a minute, but I call this the kind of the region of death, if you will. So in Class 5A, you've got Region 6 and Region 7. In Region 6, you've got Centennial, Glencliff, Hillsboro, James Lawson, which is a new school in Nashville, Nolensville, and Page. That's a tough region right there, right out of the gate. And then they match up with Region 7 5A, which will be like the quarterfinal and the first couple rounds, which is Beach, Hendersonville, Henry County, Portland, Springfield, and Hunters Lane. And goodness gracious, that gauntlet of teams right there. I mean, you really kind of feel bad for first-year school James Lawson. You feel bad for Glencliff. You feel bad for Hunters Lane, maybe Portland, because those schools right there being in that mix of region, it's just kind of really tough for me to kind of look at and really give them a chance. But hey, you never know what can happen. But that region right there, Region 6 5A, Region 7 5A, it's kind of a region of death. The region of doom.
Yeah. It sounds like the Seahawks defense in the old days.
It does.
Okay. Who should be worried about an upset tonight? Last thing for you.
Well, I think at this point, second round of the playoffs, you're a good football team. No matter what, you're a really good football team. So an upset, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, it's hard to use that word at this point in the season because only good teams make it to this point in the season. But listen, I'm going back to our game. I'm either going to our game of the week, Pope Prep at Brentwood Academy, If you look at our staff picks, only 3 of us picked Pope Prep to win, which was myself, Casey Patrick, and Emily Spears. Emily Spears always goes against the grain. So really only 2 of us picked Pope Prep to win that game. So could you consider that an upset? Maybe so. And then the other one, East Nashville at Waverly. East Nashville, a really good chance to go on the road and win this football game. Waverly, I believe, was 9-1 on the season. So on paper, this would be an upset. So those are two good ones. Maybe if you want to throw a third one in there, it's kind of a real far chance. White County at Nolensville. Listen, when you've got Malachi Dowell, dotting the I in the backfield, rushing for over 2,000 yards, you've got a chance to win some football games. So if I had to pick 3, those are my 3.
I like the White County one. I don't even know if I'd really call that an upset if White County pulls that one off. But man, we're gonna be talking about that one a lot tonight because I'm looking forward to that one.
Absolutely.
Zach, appreciate your taking the time to come on with us as always.
You bet. I'll see you in about 5 seconds, George.
I look forward to that. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Okay, in 5 seconds or less, we'll be getting ready for Stat of the Day. Then Jeff Pennington will join us with his picks. And then around 5:15, somewhere in there, a really interesting look at where the NFL is right now. And if the season stopped at this moment, who would your Tennessee Titans face in the opening round of the NFL playoffs? So stick around. Plenty more coming. This is Main Street Media Television.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young, the frontman, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Ryman.com.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. We've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And yeah, those Friday night shows, it's, you know, we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So, you know, whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're going to have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It is now time for Stat of the Day. And your Stat of the Day is, of course, as always, powered by John English Antique Sports and Cards, as well as Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. You can find John English over in Shelbyville, of course. They're open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. You can find them online as well at johnenglishgradedcards.com. Don't forget about Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. Call Eric at 615-490-7052 or visit rockcastlewealth.com for more information. George, no Watson. That's always a little bit of an X factor for stats of the day, per se. I guess you could say it that way. Let's get to it today. See what Michael's got cooked up. Which team won the very first NBA game ever played all the way back in 1946?
Good Lord.
How old were you, George?
I was not a thought at that point. I'm gonna throw a couple of things out there.
Okay.
Either the Celtics or I guess back then were they the Philadelphia Warriors?
Hell if I know.
Nice attitude.
I don't know anything that before 2000, as you know, George.
Then let's put it up there.
That was the biggest white flag ever. Give a few more guesses.
Well, I might be dead right.
So what? Philadelphia,
Fort Wayne Pistons, Philadelphia, Boston, Fort Wayne.
Okay.
I think it's one of them.
Let's see. The New York Knicks.
God.
The New York Knicks, first NBA game ever played by the Knicks, and they ended up winning it. I like how Michael
isn't that special?
Michael made sure to put Spike Lee in the picture.
That's nice.
Compared to the one on the left.
That's nice. Okay, so we have reached the 5 o'clock hour.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means it's reading time, George.
Is it?
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint. Whether it is a sprained ankle, whatever you've got, George, major joint replacement, sports injury, they've got everything you need to take care of you. Their mission is to provide high-quality, specialized orthopedic care in a compassionate manner. You can find them on the web at mtbj.net for more information.
Okay, before Jeff Pennington joins us, first, a word from Pennington Distilling.
Pennington Distilling Company was founded in 2011 with the goal of creating original craft spirits that embody the same character as the city they were born in, Nashville, Tennessee. From grain to glass, every step is taken to produce spirits of exceptional craftsmanship and quality. Pick up one of their award-winning products like Pickers Vodka, Davidson Reserve Whiskey, and Whisper Creek Tennessee Sip and Cream today. Or stop by the distillery in West Nashville and the Nations. Follow them on social media and online at PenningtonDistillingCo.com.
So, Jeff, normally it's a golf course. Today, I guess it's your office. Looks like you got a spacesuit on.
Yeah, I actually played in a 3-day golf tournament this week. Most miserable tournament we was at Vegas. The Tennessee PGA has a annual Vegas 3-day tournament.
Yeah.
Probably the most miserable I've ever been golfing. One day it was a high of 48. I think we got half of Vegas's annual precipitation that day. And the winds were going about 25 miles an hour. Out of, I think, 36 teams, 12 quit. So we gained 12 spots just by finishing. But, yeah, so I no golf today. I'm golfed out. But, no, we've got a new plant opening up down here south of Murfreesboro. So we're running our first line on Monday. So we're down here test running it. So
beautiful. Okay, you won't be doing that, though, on Saturday. Let's start with your Vols, who are home against Missouri. They're a 20.5-point favorite. Do you think there's a letdown because of Georgia or an excitement because after the fact they got a couple of breaks that have got them right in the playoff hunt?
They know they control their own destiny. And if they don't, then they're not a championship team. But, I mean, everybody was, I was hoping for a little bit better against Georgia. I'm not going to lie. Georgia – I think I told you I didn't like that the college football playoffs put us as one. Georgia was already incentivized, but, man, I had to turn the TV down because the fans were so loud. I mean, they were ready to go. What we have, 8 or 9 pre-snap penalties. I mean,
yeah.
So, I don't think it's a letdown. I think if the coaches and the players don't realize we went out, we almost kind of get the automatic backdoor in. I mean, we don't have to go to the SEC championship. I don't see how if we went out against Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Missouri, which should be the easiest road left, with 5 ranked wins and the only loss against number 1 Georgia, I don't see how we're not in. I guess if there's a scenario where LSU beats Georgia or Ole Miss, whoever plays them, if they beat Georgia, but I still think we're in. So you got to go home and you got to take care of business. I think this is our last home game. So I mean, it's the end of the season. The fans all know it if the players don't. And, no one really expected to beat Georgia. We were hopeful to beat Georgia. So I think we roll. I think 20.5 is all day. I love it. Normally I'm scared to bet for my team because I get nervous. But even if I wasn't a Tennessee fan, I think they come out last home game of the year. It's been the best season we've had in 20-something years. The fans are going to show up. I think it's by 30. So.
I like it. Okay, so you're emphatic Tennessee. Let's go to Oxford, Mississippi, where Ole Miss and Alabama do battle. Ole Miss is a 12-point dog, and Lane Kiffin would love to nail that final deal into their coffin.
Oh, man, 12? I didn't even see that. I think I take Ole Miss. I mean, it's Saban, right? I mean, if there's ever a time for a letdown, it's now. Like I told someone the other day, Alabama's probably, I don't see how they can make the playoffs now, right? I guess there's still a chance anything can happen, but
it's a pretty extreme deal that would get them in.
Yeah, you're talking probably 2 to 4, 5% chance probably to get in the playoffs. And so I already told someone, I don't care what the bowl game is, I'm betting against Alabama in it because nobody's going to go play in it. They're gonna. It's time for a letdown. Ole Miss is having a great season, so I like Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss a lot. I might even throw a little long shot on the money line on it, but I wouldn't be shocked if Saban had his team come out ready to go. Saban. I don't think Saban loved Kiffin. Maybe that's just because I don't like Kiffin. But
Well, I've never gotten the feeling that it's really lovey-dovey. I think there's respect. But I certainly don't think there's a closeness or a love between them.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard a story that after the national championship game, Kiffin was taking too long on the bus, so he left him. to get on the bus.
That would be a sign that, look, they're not all that excited about you.
So and at the same time, I think Kiffin wants to get at Saban. Saban's got nothing to prove. Kiffin's got everything to prove. So I like Ole Miss. I'll take Ole Miss.
Two teams that are going in totally different directions meet tomorrow in Fayetteville. LSU, which is surging, Arkansas, anything but that. LSU's a 3.5-point favorite. I'll admit, I really like LSU. Do you feel the same way?
Well, here's the thing. I think, I'm having a great season. I think I'm 18-8 or 18-9, something like that. But I was looking at it. Half my losses have been going against LSU. So maybe they're real. Maybe I kept, the beginning of the year, they just didn't look that good, but they're getting better. I mean, Arkansas coming off that Liberty, and Liberty's a good team. Everybody's like, oh, but what is Liberty, 8-1? I mean, I know
they've had a terrific year. They've beaten BYU. Now they've gone to Arkansas. I mean, they're legit.
And they beat up on Arkansas. I had called my buddy who's an Arkansas fan, just ask him, did a wellness check, make sure he's okay. At 3.5, I think is that Arkansas? It's the only reason I would think that low.
Yeah. So you like LSU?
I'm going LSU because they've got they're too many of my losses this year. So I'm going with LSU. They're pumped. I think they control their destiny right now, right? For the West.
Yes.
Because they beat Ole Miss, right?
They've beaten Ole Miss and they've beaten Alabama.
So I think they control their destiny. I think they show up. Actually, I love LSU now that I think about 3.5 seems low. So
bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay, final game we're going to get into. The Titans, of course, are home Sunday against Denver. In what figures to be a low-scoring game, Denver has not gotten a whole lot done offensively. The Titans in recent weeks can't throw the ball a lick. Tennessee's a 2.5-point favorite at home. Tell me what you're thinking.
Roll Titans. It's gonna be Titans all day. Denver has been just really not impressive to me. Their defense is good.
Defense is very good.
Defense is very good. I think our defense is really good. I mean, I was actually in Vegas Sunday night and watched the night game. There was luckily with the Tennessee PGA, you can imagine we had about a bunch of Titans fans watching the game.
Yeah.
It was a heartbreaker. But it showed that our defense is still just as good as they've been the last couple of years. Our defense has won us probably 90% of our games. I think Malik had a good game. I think he looked a lot better than the week before. And even though the passing game, he put a couple in the basket of some long balls that should have been.
They just didn't catch.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the Titans. I think it could be a 9-6 game. I think both defenses. I wouldn't be shocked if the defenses scored more points than the offenses. But I think the Titans, they know, like we talked about this last week, Titans have some hard games left. They got to take advantage of these games that they should win, right? I mean, last week would have been a great win. But I also think it gave the team a little confidence left that, hey, if we can stop Patrick Mahomes, we can
stop anybody.
So got to still figure out how to stop Josh Allen. He's looking pretty good. But didn't they lose too? I think I was on the plane Sunday, but
Buffalo got beat by the Jets, and worse, Allen has gotten hurt, and Josh Allen's gotten hurt. He's got a injury to his elbow that may be fairly serious. So we'll have to wait and see.
Right arm or left arm?
Right arm.
Yeah, I think it's his right.
It is right, isn't it, Billy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
anyway,
man, here's the thing. If we would have won last week, we could have been almost back in that first seed talk, right? I mean, but we still have Cowboys. I think we still have the Chargers. We still have Green
Bay next Thursday night.
Yeah.
Got some tough games left.
That if they lose, it'll be the first time he's ever lost 6 games in a row. Rodgers, they're talking about trade talks with him. I was like, what? Like, can we talk about that? That's good.
Wow.
Actually, I think if people didn't realize, I'm a big Tannehill fan. I always have been. I think he's a much better quarterback than people give him credit for because I think probably that's the last couple of weeks, as good as Malik's done to hold it together. I think people, if they're not a Titans fan that's looking forward to getting Tannehill back, I don't know why, because he's a good quarterback. So
he's the best option they have.
So I think we win. We win. We may not win by more than 3. It may be a defensive struggle, but we're going to pull out a victory.
But we're going to win by at least 2.5.
Yeah, we're going to win by. It's going to be. Let's call it right now. A field goal for the win.
12-9.
I was going with an old school Alabama, Tennessee 9-6 game.
Oh, I remember it well.
Yeah.
Jeff, have a good weekend. Appreciate it.
You too.
Jeff Pennington joining us for his weekly visit. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Shame on me for not saying this earlier. Happy Veterans Day to all of you, and to the veterans who are out there who are watching this show, who have served our country the way you have. God bless you. Thank you so much for the freedoms that you have given us in this great country. One of the things we all have as part of that freedom is the ability to talk and talk sports. And that's what we're doing here. as we look at the National Football League, if the season stopped at this moment, and obviously what we want to be able to do is take and look and see what this all means for the Titans. So Buffalo and Kansas City right now are both at the top in the AFC. No surprise there. They both got 6-2 records. Buffalo, by virtue of the win in Kansas City a few weeks ago, is at the moment the 1 seed.
Yes.
These days, Billy, the 1 seed is the only seed that gets a first round bye.
In these days, I forgot about that.
Yeah. The Titans a year ago were the team in the AFC that got the first round bye. And of course, a week later, we know what happened when they ran into Cincinnati.
Didn't work out too well.
No. So the Chiefs at 6-2 at the moment are the 2 seed. Baltimore, by virtue of leading whatever theirs is, AFC North, is the 3 seed. Their record is 6-3. The Titans at the moment are the 4 seed by virtue of the lead in the AFC South. Their record is 5-3. The 3 wild cards right now are JETS by virtue of tiebreaker stuff. And I know I'm not explaining that really well. Don't ask me to. It could take forever. Miami at the moment is the 6th seed. Tua and the Dolphins, who don't play a lick of defense but are really good on the offensive end. And then the Chargers, who have been a little bit of an enigma so far. They're a hard read. They're 5-3. They go to San Francisco Sunday night. They are at the moment the 7th seed. So what does that mean in the AFC? If the season stopped today, here's what you'd have in the opening playoff weekend. The Chiefs, as a 2 seed, would play host to the Chargers. Ironically, the Chargers beat Kansas City earlier this year on Thursday night at Arrowhead. It was probably the best game Amazon Prime has been able to show. By the way, they have had some dogs.
Yeah, they started off hot with a couple good ones, but then it got really bad.
Miami-Baltimore is a rematch of a game earlier this year where Baltimore led by 21 going into the 4th quarter and gagged it.
Yep.
Lost, I think it was 38-35. So Miami would go back on the road to Baltimore where they've had success. And then the Titans, by virtue of being a division champion, they would get JETS. And let's face it, Billy, those are 2 teams that are very similar. They live on defense. They live trying to run the football. And the Jets, when they lost Breece Hall, they lost a really dynamic running back.
They did. That's going to hurt them, because like the Titans, they want to run the football. So that either way, if this is a matchup that we see, George, that's going to be a slugfest. And, there could be more than just one slugfest in that AFC first round and in the NFC as well, as we'll get to those. But yeah, Breece Hall, George, I know, the Jets haven't been a whole lot offensively, but he was their guy. So losing him, that's like the Titans almost losing Derrick Henry. So comparably.
Yeah. So that's where it would be in the AFC. In the NFC, Philly right now is the obvious number 1. They're still undefeated, and they've got the Commanders Monday night, the tribute to Daniel Snyder game.
You're going to like that one, aren't you, George?
Yeah. So here's where the NFC is right now. Who would have thought Minnesota would be sitting there at 7-1?
Not me.
They have been, in my mind, the surprise of the NFL so far. If things held the way they are right now, San Francisco is the 7 seed. Now, we all know San Fran is really dangerous. They're better than a 7. They've had a ton of injuries. They're going to get people healthy. But, Billy, the likelihood is that they're going to go on the road no matter what. And at the moment, as a 7 seed, they would go to Minnesota. That's not To be the 2 seed and have to play a team as good as that's not much of an advantage.
No, it's not. That's not a 7 seed you want to see if you're Minnesota there, especially if the 49ers can really start to figure out what they want to do with Christian McCaffrey. And we know the quarterback position isn't their strong suit, but they've got McCaffrey, still got Deebo Samuel. So that's not a team you want to see if you're Minnesota.
No, the Vikings have got to hope that some things change in the next few weeks, and they could. Okay, this second game, the 3 is Seattle. Okay, they might be the second biggest pleasant surprise. No Russell Wilson. People thought this was a rebuild year. This is Pete Carroll's best coaching job, to get them where they are right now, which is at the moment a 3 seed. And by the way, that matchup with the G-Men, did you like that?
I like it.
G-Men. This is a rematch of a game 2 weeks ago that was tough, tight, had playoff kind of intensity in Seattle. The Seahawks ended up winning at 27-13. But if they play a rematch game, that might be really interesting.
Yeah, the Giants are another team like the Niners, George, who are a scary higher seed at 6. I mean, they look like a playoff team right now, and they look like a team that's built to have success in the playoffs. Daniel Jones has played really well. We saw what they did in Nashville, George. We were there
week 1
with Saquon Barkley, and they haven't slipped. And neither has Seattle after Russell Wilson's departure from last year. So that would be.
Geno Smith's been out of his mind.
He sure has. I think that says a lot about Pete Carroll and that offense and that system. So I totally agree with that coaching job this year.
Now, the bottom game is really interesting.
Yep.
Dallas, and people have got different feelings about Dallas. There are certain times I watch them where they look as good as anybody with Micah Parsons, because defensively, man, they have got some pieces. Offensively, I don't know what to think. There's some weeks that they're pretty good. There are other weeks where I think they look very mechanical, very robotic. But whatever the case, Dallas right now has got to believe they're going on the road in the opening round, because Philly, undefeated, is not likely to lose this division. This is a rematch. If 4 and 5 were to stay as they were, this is a rematch of an opening Sunday night game where Dallas at home got thumped to the tune of 19-3, and everybody sat there and said, well, this is just Tampa. They're really good. Well, this just in, Tampa has sucked. And the only reason they'd be a 4 seed right now is because the division sucks.
Similar to the Titans. It's the same situation as the Titans. So you got a couple of 4 seeds that could be in danger. And, George, I think you've got a couple 2 seeds that could be in danger. So, I mean, if the playoffs started today, you look at the parity right now, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And Watson talked about the poor play, just bad football we've seen that could make for an entertaining first round series of games.
The likelihood with the Titans, if you're trying to play percentages, the likelihood is they're going to be the division champion and they're going to be the 4 seed. That's probably the best bet.
Yeah.
It's probably Miami, the Jets, or the Chargers. One of those 3 who would be coming here in the opening round. Now, that's not to say that other teams couldn't emerge, but best bet right now, those 3.
And honestly, George, I think that puts the Titans in a pretty good spot at home. Now, we saw what happened last year, but I don't think any of those teams have a quarterback like Joe Burrow, as talented. Maybe you could say Tua in Miami. But
hey, I think you're shortchanging one out west.
L.A. Herbert.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's looked up and down.
It's been up and down. Now, there's no doubt that when he's on his best, they're good enough to go to Kansas City and win. They did. So the Chargers are the enigma. I don't know what to think about them.
Yeah, and I think if you're the Titans, that's the one team you don't want to see.
Right.
Out of those 3 teams, you would rather see either the Jets or the Dolphins. You don't want to see Herbert and that Chargers offense.
Jets will play a lot of defense, but they won't threaten you a lot on the offensive side.
No.
So that was just something we wanted to kind of play out that exercise, let you know where it is at somewhere close to the midway mark of the NFL season. Boy, when you say that midway mark, boy, you realize what a long season it really is.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about college and high school. Feels like high school. High school's obviously close to done. College, you're coming down the home stretch. NFL,
You got 2 more months.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
still got a lot of football to be played. So that's what happens when you're in the NFL.
After the break, I have got a bunch of bets that I'm going to lay on you. Plaster's bets of the weekend. I'm red hot. I've won 3 in a row. Thank God.
Ready to roll.
This is Main Street Media Television.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. All new designs including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young. The frontmen, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Ryman.com.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. See more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It is now time for Plaster's best bets of the weekend. He's got 6 ready to roll for you. 6 bets trying to get up over 500. We'll see if he can do it. A few words here on Bart Durham. Since 1975, they have aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you too have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, or at your workplace, let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full financial compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham injury law by logging on to bartdurham.com. Okay, George, let's take a look at that record. As I just mentioned, you are sitting at 68-70.
Getting close again.
You've won
49.3.
49.3%. You're getting there. Three wins in a row. Can you stay hot this weekend? You got 5 college games, I think is right, and you got a teaser for the NFL. So if you're ready to roll, we can get right into it.
Yeah, four actually on the college level.
Okay.
So let's start with one that I've been hinting at all along.
We're going to start with LSU and Arkansas.
Yes, we are. And I am taking the Bengal Tigers, and I believe in this one strongly, and I'll tell you why. Number one, Arkansas is a mess. I don't know what's going on there. They were a team with really high hopes early, and they just have not panned out at all. And it kind of bottomed out in an embarrassing loss to Liberty. Not that Liberty's a bad football team, but Arkansas was down 21-3 at one point, and only the rally late made that look even respectable. On LSU's end, a naysayer might say, well, are they going to get back off the deck after all the emotion against Alabama? I absolutely think they're going to, because I think their players are sitting there saying, hey, if we get a couple of breaks and we stay unbeaten from here on in, who knows? But they're going to the SEC title game, and that may give them the chance to go up against Georgia and put that on their resume. LSU not only wins tomorrow, but they cover, and I think they cover in double digits.
Up next, we go to Cincinnati Nippert Stadium. Big game in the American Athletic Conference, ECU at Cincy.
This is tonight.
Yes.
And, you know, if you had asked me earlier, okay, what will the line on this game be? It would have been Cincinnati 7 or 7.5.
Yeah, why is it 4.5?
I don't know. I don't know what it is that Vegas thinks they know. East Carolina is a team that has played very little defense all year long. Got a really good quarterback in Holton Ayers, the lefty, big, tall.
Big guy.
Yeah. But they don't play any defense. And I don't know why this is a 4.5-point spread. But I think Cincinnati not only wins this, but I think they cover.
Up next, George, we go down to New Orleans, a top 25 matchup. A couple of good matchups in the American this weekend. Number 22 UCF at number 17 Tulane. Tough spread here.
Here is a stat of the day. This is the first time that Tulane and an opponent at Tulane Stadium have both been in the top 25 since 1949.
Ooh.
How about that?
How about that nugget?
Tulane's pretty doggone good. They run a lot of triple option. They're a ground team. Central Florida, to me, is overrated. I don't think that John Rice Plumlee has been nearly what I thought he would be when he transferred from Ole Miss. If they don't get off to a big start early, I think Tulane wins this game and obviously covers.
We move over to the Big 12. George, Iowa State at Oklahoma State. Interesting you're taking Oklahoma State here because they've really struggled.
Oh, they have died over the last 2 weeks.
As of late. They don't have their quarterback.
Yeah.
Mike Gundy has lost control of that defense, as has Derek Mason, that defensive coordinator.
Oklahoma State's better than Iowa State. Now, what level of embarrassment or shame they have dealt with over the last couple of weeks as they have gotten boat raced, I've got to think that their attitude going into this game will be significantly improved. I'm not saying it'll be a masterpiece, but I think Oklahoma State wins partly because Iowa State, they're a solid football team, but they don't have great offense. They're not going to threaten Oklahoma State the way some other teams would. I take the Cowboys minus the points to cover.
So this is more about what Iowa State's not going to do in this game for you.
Maybe. But look,
if
this game had been played a month ago, Oklahoma State would be a double-digit favorite.
Right. This is the one dicey pick, I'd say. This is living on the edge here for George. Okay, you've got 2 NFL picks to round it out here. Titans are at home against Denver. Does Russell Wilson have enough?
He might, but I'm not sure offensively they do. I'm like everybody else. This is going to be a tough, tight, low-scoring game, something like 19-9, 13-6, 16-10. I don't think the Titans blow you away by any stretch.
No.
I think they win by at least a field goal and cover.
Okay. George riding with the Titans is
a lot of little bitty favorites.
Yeah, a lot of dicey games here. Going to be on your heels here, George. Here we go. 2-team teaser.
Yeah.
San Fran and Philly.
Okay, San Fran's the Sunday night game. They're home against the Chargers. I can't figure the Chargers out. I know Justin Herbert can cause a lot of trouble, but I also think San Fran can cause a lot of trouble. I think they'll win at home. Philly will boat race the Commanders on Monday night, and we'll go home happy. And hopefully, when this is all over, I can look at this piece of paper and say, job well done. You're over 500.
A plus. You're going to get an A plus, Georgia. I like the picks. There's a couple dicey ones in there. The OK State game.
Tell me what you like the best.
I love LSU.
Yep.
I love the LSU pick.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Cincinnati pick as well. Here's where it gets dicey. These 1.5 games. Tulane, UCF. Usually like to stay away from those. OK State also being 1.5. I do like them to win that one though. So I think. I would take OK State in the money line there. So I like that one.
Be my luck they win by 1.
Yeah. And then I do like I don't love this Tulane pick, but I do think they'll win. And this teaser, I feel like in the teaser, you got San Francisco in the teaser every week. So we'll see how that works out. But I do like it. I like the board, George.
This is a big one. Of course, I've been saying this now for about 3 weeks. I cannot get over the hump.
You got to get off the schneid.
Yeah, but let me tell you, 49.3 when you do this every day is respectable.
That's pretty respectable.
It's respectable.
Being right around 500, that's not where I expected you to be, but
where did you expect me to be?
Somewhere in the 35, 40 range.
Oh,
but
thanks a bunch.
You're playing above your talent level right now.
You might be terminated before Monday if this continues.
You're doing more with less.
Hey, we're out of here. Want to wish all of you a great weekend. Drive safely. The weather late tonight is going to get a little dicey again.
A little chilly.
Yeah. Again, thanks to all the veterans on Veterans Day for everything you have done for our country. Friday Night Live will commence early in the 6 o'clock hour. Zach Womble will join Billy and I, and we'll take you through week number 2 of the high school football playoffs. See you soon on Main Street Media Television.